Today, on Running to Him. Through putting others first, we fulfill the commandment to love our neighbors as ourselves. Today's reading is Galatians chapter 5, verses 12 through 26, and we will be concentrating on verses 16 through 18. Galatians 5, 16 through 18 says this, "But I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not carry out the desire of the flesh. For the flesh sets its desire against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. For these are in opposition to one another, so that you may not do the things that you please. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law." Today's section in Galatians points out the difference between how the world acts and how a Christian is to act. The two are opposed to one another. We can see that truth in our culture today. We don't need to listen to the news very long to come up with the idea that their view is that part of the culture and history of the United States has been hate and intolerance. They claim that the system is rotten from the inside and needs to be changed entirely. The interesting thing about what they are saying about the part of our history is true, but they are attacking from the wrong direction. And if they continue in that direction, our world will become worse, not better. Verses 16 and 17 use the same basic word. In verse 16, it uses it as a noun. In verse 17, uses it as a verb to describe those who think in worldly terms. When Paul writes about fleshly desire, he uses the Greek word meaning an explosive desire or a way of thinking, much like an explosion of dynamite or a nuclear reaction. These are actions or desires which are not controlled. So let's think about this for a moment. When a thought consumes us in such a way as to overtake all other thoughts, resulting in destructive action completely, that is the work of the flesh. For example, those who succumb to this kind of thinking in the world of relationships exhibit a tremendous crush on someone to the point of being consumed by their thoughts. Over time, this emotional response dies, and the person moves on to another, claiming their previous love didn't fulfill them, but this one certainly does now. The Spirit does not control this kind of thinking or living. Our sinful nature controls it. Our desires are self-focused and not others-focused. Look at the list Paul presents in verses 19 through 21. All the actions listed point back to the satisfaction of the individual, not to a relationship with God. But the actions listed in verses 22 and 23 are outward-focused. Those desires are sacrificial because the person is living by the Spirit and living for someone else or something else. The two lifestyles are not compatible. A human can only go in one direction or another. And this brings us to the situation in the United States today. We as a culture or people make mistakes in the past and are bound to make mistakes in the future. These mistakes were and are based on selfish, me-thinking actions. On the other hand, there has never been a people who have been so giving and selfless at times than those in the United States. Actions that result in the hate of others are a result of fleshly thinking. Selfless actions are actions that exhibit God's Spirit. Only those who have a relationship with God can regularly exhibit selfless actions. A person who lives in the flesh can do good things, but those actions are an anomaly to their actual nature, just as evil acts are an anomaly to the Christian's nature. Through putting others first, we fulfill the command to love our neighbors as ourselves. Thank you for listening. We pray that today's devotion was meaningful to you. We would love to hear from you. You can use either Facebook or YouTube to like, subscribe, share, and tell others about us. If you would like to contact us, you can reach me at phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.